Today's Morphin Network video is sponsored by Ranger Stop and Pop, which is now August the 27th to the 29th, 2021 in Atlanta, Georgia. And Ranger Stop Convention, which is now November 11th to the 14th, 2021 in Orlando, Florida. Go to rangerstop.com for more info.
Aha! That car has a battery! Yum, yum! Every goat with electricity makes me more powerful! Listen, folks! Once I'm charged up, destroying the Rangers will be easy!
Now, give it up for Voltipede!
Mr. Brown, how are you doing, sir?
I'm very well, gentlemen. How are you guys?
He's doing good. It's getting hot here in LA. Nothing to complain because I like hot water. Yeah.
Well, we're doing the opposite here. It's been raining all day in Auckland.
Oh my gosh.
I would love to go there at this time of year.
Have you guys ever been to New Zealand?
No. I wish.
I just prefer colder environments.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same, man. I find the hot weather pretty unbearable. I sleep with a fan on my face through winter, even.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode. Interview of more Ranger Podcast Live. Morphin Never Interviews. So we have here a veteran Power Ranger voice actor, Ashton Brown. He voiced. Actually, let's do this. Ashton, who did you voice? So you know.
I voiced Voltipede. And then the following season, I voiced Meltitron.
Yeah, so Voltipede is from Ninja Steel, and Meltitron is from Beast Morphers. The episode where basically they try to stuck the Rangers in a hangar, basically sabotage them. So that's the episode. So yeah, how are you doing? Before we start, how are you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm really, really good. How are you guys?
Doing good. And plus, I love the Funko Pops in the background, by the way.
Thank you.
I like the Spider-Man
I'll
hat.
put them on display, you know.
Yeah.
I like the Spider-Man hat. I'm not a hat guy, but I love Spider-Man.
It's cool, eh? I like that it's almost like a pink color as well, because pink's totally my jam, so...
Well, if Japan is proof of anything, pink is a very manly color.
Oh, you know, you've got to rock it if you want to do it. Oh, you can see my cat in the background there too on the right.
Oh, and by the way, guys, yes, you guys you recognize him. Yeah, well, he was a sleeping guy from Megaforce, so he was the guy.
I did not recognize you because of the lack of beard.
Such a baby face back then. That would have been probably like 7 years ago, maybe.
2013.
Yeah. So even almost 8 years ago, and the dozing man, the role where they I did have a line. Which they cut in the episode, which is always fun when you sit down to watch and you're waiting for you to say your line and then the scene cuts, but that's the nature of the business.
And he also won a car in episode 2, so yay!
Yeah.
So anyway,
such versatility, eh? I can sleep and I can look slightly excited. It's a great range that I have. It's almost Christian Bale-like in terms of range.
So anyway, guys, let's get the interview started. So Ashton, how did you get started with acting?
So when I was probably 5 or 6, I was a pretty hyperactive child, showing signs of ADHD and stuff. And my parents decided the best way to deal with that was to send me to drama club after school, and that was, like almost 30 years ago. I'm 33 now, and I've been acting since. So they sent me along to drama classes, and I loved it, and I've literally done it since. I did it all through primary school, all through high school, and then I went to drama school in New Zealand and studied that for 3 years, and then I've sort of been working in the industry for probably about seven years now since graduating. But I also did odd jobs prior to that, but only started doing like professional voice and ad work and stuff since graduating from drama school. Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, by the looks of it, because I look at your resume, it's really impressive, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Very impressive, just to let you know. Actually, that goes next to follow up to the next question is, which Mike will answer. Oh, ask. Mike?
I will ask.
You can answer it if you want. I'd love to hear what your answer was.
How did you get into voice acting?
I've always been one of those people that does stupid voices. I know that's a bit of a cliche answer, and then everyone was like, "You should do voice work." And then my agency, Auckland Actors, who I've been with for like 10 years, they started to branch out specifically into character voice work as an agency. And from there, I sort of told them that I really wanted to branch out into that. And so I went into the recording studio and I read some ads and stuff, which was fine, but that was more serious voice work, like, if you want to buy a Toyota, that sort of stuff, which isn't really me. I'm much more character-based. And then we had 10 minutes at the end of the recording session, and my agent was like, look, we don't have any character scripts for you. Do you just want to improvise some voices? And I did, and that became my voice reel, which is, if you want to hear it, it's on my agency page, and it's completely improvised, like just different characters, different scripts, like completely just pulled it out of my butt, basically. And from there, that got me some auditions with Power Rangers. And I've done a few video game auditions as well, but I haven't cracked that market yet. But Power Rangers is the two main professional voice jobs that I've done.
Interesting. It's kind of cool that you did video games. So hopefully I can, in the future, I can hear you in one because I love playing video games, by the way. So.
Oh, same. I'm a massive gaming nerd, and so if I could one day hear my own voice in a video game, that would be amazing.
Hopefully, for a Spider-Man game, because there's Spider-Man hat.
Honestly, the dream for me is because as an actor, if I could do voice work over anything else, that would be my ideal goal, because I like the fact that people don't know who's doing the voice unless they look it up. So that's great for someone with social anxiety. I don't have to be linked to anything, but I still get to do all the crazy acting and stuff. So if I could be in like comic book movies and stuff, that would totally be the dream.
Yes. Speaking of Spider-Man, I gotta show you my awesome drape.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so Spider-Man Forever.
Man, your room puts my room to shame in terms of rad, nerd culture.
Oh, but anyway, so speaking of Power Rangers, so Ashton, can you tell us how you get started working for Power Rangers?
I got submitted a few times, and I think I'd probably auditioned maybe once or twice for some different characters, actually probably even 3 or 4 times, and had not been cast for them. And basically what happens is you get sent a character outline, which describes the character very vaguely, and you might get a bit of a script. And it's not until you turn up at the audition that you actually get to see what the monster looks like, which often it completely throws you, because the description and what actually is presented to you is often so different to what you were imagining. And so often you're at the audition, and the voice you've prepared based on the outline of the character is not. You see the character and you're like, that's not going to match. So a few times I think that's thrown me. But yeah, so you go in and they show you the monster that you're auditioning for, and then you got in the booth and you have a crack at it. And usually they let you do 3 or 4 different voices to see which one the producer will like. And then I was lucky enough with Voltipede, which was the first one I got, that they really seemed to like the voice that I ended up with, so I was really stoked about that.
How you found the voice for Voltipede in Super Ninja Steel?
Voltipede was really interesting, because it was, when I read the description, and it was pretty. Now that I see Voltipede again, I'm like, the description wasn't wasn't too different to how the monster actually looks. But when you just get told he's got plugs for hands and he's part centipede creature, you can picture a million things. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to generate an essence of electricity in my voice, which I know that sounds like such a weird concept that doesn't mean anything. But that's why it has that sort of Rangers, that sort of like almost like what it would be like to have electricity reverberating through my vocal cords was sort of the ridiculous thought process that I had for that.
You know, Voltipede kind of reminds me of Electropede from Power Rangers Time Force.
Yeah. It almost, yeah. There's sort of like, it's same but different, eh?
Yeah, I think even I think even Nico had the same plot as Trip did in the same episode. The only thing missing is having a bunch of kids dressed up as Ninja Steel Yellow Ranger in that episode.
Yeah. I think when a show's been going for as long as something like Rangers have, and in so many different like formats that it's taken, it's bound to start, you know, almost milking its own ideas as it continues.
Now, you did voice Nerf Monster in Power Rangers, and actually it's already uploaded, so guys, he voiced Meltitron from Power Rangers Beast Morphers. Now, can you tell us how you find a voice for Meltitron? Again, guys, what it look like? There you go.
Do you know, Meltitron's an interesting one for me because I remember Voltipede like super well, even though it was longer ago than Meltitron. But Meltitron hasn't stuck with me as well, and I think it's because I've struggled to find recordings of Meltitron, and I know. So my memory of it, I don't even know how accurate it is, but I remember going in and then being like, oh, it's the Voltipede guy. So what we kind of want you to do is Voltipede, but not Voltipede. And that's kind of what I remember Meltitron ending up as. So again, almost similar, like you can probably tell that it's the same voice actor, but it's still got a slightly more unique twist than Voltipede did to separate them. But I remember them saying, you know, because I was worried, I was like, does this sound too much like Voltipede? And they were like, you know, that's why the producers wanted you to come in, because they want the same kind of vibe. So it was almost like a spin-off character of Voltipede for me from a voice perspective.
Interesting, because like what's funny is the same thing. I was like, this voice sounds so familiar, and then finally when I found you out, I'm like, now I see why it sounds so familiar. Yeah. So I mean, that's cool though. But again,
I almost felt like I was cheating. I was like, is it bad that I'm doing a very similar voice? But you know, you go in and you work with what they want you to do if you want to get the job. I didn't want to be like, can I do something completely different? Because obviously when they create these characters, they have an idea of how they want them to sound. And you know, so if they want me to go on and do a similar voice again, I'm 100% in. But I can do other voices.
But on the upside, you could at least say you were the first monster to appear with the Beast X Megazord.
Yeah, and almost destroyed it too.
Yeah, so there we go. So that's you know, that's something I need to put on my Rangers CV.
You know, it's funny. I'm actually gonna check if you actually have a toy. So, because I asked all of our past voice actor guests, like I've had their toy or not, they don't know. So I'm actually gonna find out if you actually do have a toy. So. Oh
man, I don't know. That would be amazing.
Yeah. So while you look for one, Mike, next question.
Okay, this next question is actually something I've been looking forward to asking you because I have a bit of a similar background as we discussed behind the scenes. Can you tell us how you became a stand-up comedian?
So I think it was back in 2012, 2013. And again, it's that whole cliche thing where you think you're funny when you're hanging out with your friends and they're like, oh, you should do stand-up. And everyone thinks they can do it. And then you do it and you're like, wow, this is really, really hard. But I did go and do it at the club in Auckland at the open mic night. And I really loved it. And I didn't do tragically badly. So I was like, you know, I've been acting for ages. I've been writing my own scripts and stuff for a while now. Can I translate that into performing stand-up? And yeah, I did it. I did club gigs for about 4 or 5 years. And then I sort of stopped enjoying the lifestyle of having to be at bars and clubs 3 nights a week to do a 5-minute, you know, often unpaid or low paid spot. And so I started just writing a show for the New Zealand Comedy Festival and doing a solo show once a year or once every 2 years. And so my first solo show was called Anxious to Meet You, which was all about my struggles with mental health. So it was trying to find an avenue to talk about depression and anxiety through comedy, which sounds ridiculous, and it was, but the show went really, really well. And then the following year I did Dying to Meet You, which was about death. So I like sort of tackling these topics which are not traditionally hilarious, but through that finding my comedy voice. And so now I don't do comedy heaps, but when I get an idea for a show, I'll work on it and do it in the festival if I get accepted, but I'm not doing one this year.
Right. I know one thing you should never ask a stand-up comic is to do a joke on demand, obviously, but I will ask something a little similar.
Yeah.
In the out of the past shows you've done, what would you say would be one of your favorite bits that you've done in a past show?
One of my favorite bits is I finished Anxious to Meet You with you guys know obviously the New Zealand singer. She's probably one of our most famous celebrities, Lorde. I did the full she did a Saturday Night Live performance a few years ago where she sang Green Light, and she sort of did this whole Lordy dance thing. I closed my show by doing like a full I do my makeup in somebody else's car.
I actually saw that. I saw you do that on YouTube.
And it's one of my favorite bits because it's so stupid. I mean, I'm this big sweaty hairy dude doing like this full Lorde and then the year after for Dying to Meet You, Sears song Chandelier, how that girl Maddie does the full dance. I learned that dance, like the first verse and the chorus, and I wore a Sear wig and like a tight singlet, and I did the whole so those are my two favorite bits. Anything that's super inane and super stupid is usually what I enjoy the most, and so I like to do a whole lot of sort of social commentary humor and then finish with something dumb.
One of my favorite bits that I did was on the same week as Valentine's Day, and I paid the DJ to intro me with the theme song to the Twilight Zone, and then I did this whole Twilight Zone style monologue that ends with me saying, "You're about to enter the friend zone."
Oh, that's good.
Tell me, Ashton, how did you become? This is what we don't know. How did you become an MC or basically an MC or a speaker?
So I think that probably started before I was doing stand-up. A lot of it stems from having been an actor. I think you get used to being on stage, although not all MCs are actors or have an interest in being actors, but I've always had an interest in public speaking and stuff. And so from there, it's sort of started off as a volunteer thing because no one ever wants to be the person getting up and speaking. But if you enjoy it, you sort of fall into that role. And then from there, I started getting more and more paid stuff, especially around Christmas time. And then when I started doing comedy as well, I could bring an element of that into my MC and speaking work. It's quite different to stand-up, because stand-up you get up there and it's often less formal, whereas often MC stuff I do is quite corporate or quite formal, and I actually find it less stressful because if no one laughs, I just act like there was no joke. And when I'm MCing, often it's just to run events and stuff, and I do enjoy that. A lot of MCing though is actually being quite good at managing time. You're actually, like when you MC a wedding, for example, I've MC'd a few weddings, you actually end up running the entire wedding to schedule. It's actually quite an important job. You can't just drink as much as you want and tell rude jokes. You actually have to be quite organized. Don't even know if I answered your question. I just started doing it and really enjoyed it, and so kept pursuing it, applying for stuff online and stuff like that. And then when you get a bit of a performance CV, companies use you again if they like you. So it sort of snowballs from one thing into another if you find you're enjoying it and being well received.
So tell us about the movie Buzzcut, because you played a major character in that one.
Yes, so Buzzcut, the poster is, it's mirrored there. So that's the signed cast poster that I've got. So Buzzcut is New Zealand's, I believe it's New Zealand's first ever slasher movie. It's a black comedy. It's written and directed by a guy called Martin Renner, who has produced, he's done a lot of it just completely on his own. And it's had independent backers financially and stuff. So it hasn't been funded by the New Zealand Film Commission or anything. And that comes out later this year. It's currently in post-production. So it's one of those films that's inspired by like the 80s style of comedy and horror. So real scream queeny, super violent practical effects, like people's heads getting pulled off and stuff, but all the rather than having special effects, they're physical practical effects. So there's dummies made of all the characters and the heads come off and blood goes everywhere and stuff like that. So it's a real like a tribute to the 80s era of horror, and it's got real dark humor, sort of black comedy, like early Chevy Chase stuff, like Vacation and Animal House and all that sort of stuff, humor. And it's about these guys that are on like a they're called the Hash House Harriers. I don't know if you guys have that in America. They're known as a drinking club with a running problem, and it's basically all these people that get together and they do this planned run and they get drunk along the way. And while they're doing this, they get hunted by a beekeeper. And I play Gorb, and I'm 25 kgs heavier when we shot that last year. So I play like the slapstick big guy that you know from 80s horror comedies. So I'm really excited about that coming out. We filmed that over about 15 days. It was my first feature film, and my only feature film, and got to play one of the two principal roles opposite an amazing Kiwi actress called Phoenix Cross, who's just done a whole lot of work with Viva La Dirt League. I don't know if you guys know those dudes. They're like a gaming YouTube channel where they reenact a whole lot of like Dark Souls sketch stuff. Yeah, and like they do PUBG sketches and like So hopefully when the film comes out, it's well received. It's got a scream queen called Linnea Quigley in it, who is an American, and she's done hundreds of horror films, and it's also got a cameo by Donna Wilkes, who was in Jaws 2, among other things. So it's got a few like horror scream queens doing cameos, which we're hoping boosts the film's reputation when it drops. So keep an eye out for Buzzcut.
Yeah, you know, my one of our other Morphin Network members, Leonard, he and I actually love horror movies, and we do a movie review podcast separate from Morphin Network. And we're actually about to review a horror movie in the same genre as Power Rangers. So, like,
wow.
Yeah, so imagine like a bug Power Ranger like superhero who actually like rips people's heads off.
Oh, amazing. Horror is like my favorite genre of movie, and I don't care if it's a good horror, a bad horror. All horrors are entertaining to me. Like, I will trudge through so much garbage to find good ones.
Yeah, it's like a macabre style of comedy if you really think about it. Oh,
100%. But you know, Buzzcut will be right up your alley. Hopefully you guys can review that on your podcast when it does drop.
We definitely will. I'm gonna let my partner know that we should review this in October. and also, you were in a certain TV show that my partner right here is a big fan of, called Shortland Street. so can you tell us a little bit about your character on that?
Does Shortland Street have fans?
I'll say this. I asked a lot of your former co-stars, the Power Rangers. They were also part of it. They're like, "Wait, you watched it?" It's like, "Yep." And I was a kid. I don't know how we were able to watch it. There was like this channel, New Zealand channel, when I was cable TV. My parents always watch it, so that's how I was so familiar with it. So how were you, Shortland Street?
I've been on Shorties twice. The first was when I was a bit younger. I was in my last year at drama school, and the character I played ended up getting dubbed over, which is so ironic that I'm a voice actor now. And I remember I do a bit of stand-up about it, actually, because all my drama school class, they threw me a party so we could watch the episode, and then the episode came on and it clearly wasn't my voice, so that was fun and not embarrassing at all. So that was like a little one-episode role, and then earlier this year I played end of last year? Recently, I played a homophobic bully bogan, which, you know, which couldn't be further from me in real life. But it was a fun role. So there's two of the main characters in a lesbian relationship, and they're about to get married, and they go away camping for the weekend. And I'm there playing this guy called Bryce, who pretty much just ruins their entire weekend. It was a lot of fun. It was just one day's with a shooting, and it was nice because when the episode came out, it did have my voice, so I felt vindicated from my first attempt.
That's well, actually, I have a question for you. Since you like horror, what's your favorite horror film?
That's a really good question. One of my long-term favorite horror films, and I don't even know if it's considered strictly a horror, is The Exorcism of Emily Rose. It's just so dark, and it's almost half courtroom drama, half horror. More recently, I really loved A Quiet Place. I really liked that. I'm trying to think. I watched so many horror movies that when I get asked, I'm suddenly like, do I know the names of any horror movies? I really, really like supernatural horror. I liked, I find stuff like The Conjuring and stuff, I don't like it as much as a lot of other people do. I think it's a little bit too cliche horror and high budget to the point where it's almost like too well made to be an enjoyable horror. One of my all-time favorites though is Sinister with Ethan Hawke. Just I don't know if you guys have seen Sinister. The films in it that he's researching. There's this one lawnmower scene that just sticks with me through horror movies. And the other one I really love is Train to Busan. The Korean horror.
I love that movie.
I watched it
so good.
four times.
From the second that movie starts to the second it finishes, you can barely breathe watching that movie. Honestly, it is so intense. Korean horror is so awesome. Sorry.
By the way.
Sorry?
There's a sequel to it, Train to Busan. It's called Peninsula.
It's coming out later this year, eh?
Yeah, it's coming out later.
Oh, so keen, honestly. It reminds me of 28 Weeks Later, how the opening scene of that is like one of the greatest scenes in horror history. All of Train to Busan is pretty much that opening scene.
Personally, I'm a big fan of. A lot of people give me flack for this, but I love Halloween 3. Just because it's so different, but I love how the movie in a way justifies why there's so many different timelines in like the main Halloween movies. Like it's a fan theory I have called the Shamrock theory, where it's like where the failed ritual at the end of the movie split the timeline in the Michael Myers universe, causing 4 different universes.
What's your advice to any aspiring actor or actress that want to be part of this industry or entertainment industry?
My advice to anyone that wants to be like an artist at all, whether it be television, film, acting, writing, whatever, is to focus on the projects that make you excited rather than the projects that will make you successful. I think that we spend so much time with an outcome of what we want to be as performers in mind, in terms of how well known we want to be, how much money we want to make, how much of a living we can make out of it, that we end up chasing projects that aren't actually ones that we love, or we're chasing them for the wrong reason. When I still want to be famous, my focus and my happiness as an artist was very different. Now that I'm doing art and acting and stuff because I want to, without any desired outcome other than to enjoy it, I get way more out of it, and I actually think I get more opportunities from it. So my advice is, do it because it makes you happy, not because you want to be a different version of yourself or a better version of yourself, because else you don't get fulfilled. Most of us don't have any control over how successful we are, and so if that's what you're chasing, then you're going to spend your whole life wishing that you were doing better and comparing yourself to others. So do it because it makes you happy, and enjoy the opportunities you get, whether they're paid or like I just directed a community theatre show up the road, and it was so fulfilling and awesome. And the clientele were all 75-year-old people who lived in the local town, but it was awesome. So my advice is, do it because it makes you happy. Don't do it because you want to be able to tell people how good you are at it, or get paid or anything like that. And I think you'll find it way more fulfilling. Outside
of the restrictions of non-disclosure agreements, within what you're able to disclose, are there any upcoming projects aside from Buzzcut that you'd like to let us know about?
So I am currently in the middle of season 1 of a podcast with my mate Ben Moore. The first 7 episodes are already up on Spotify and Podbean and stuff. That's called the BoJack Horse Friends. So basically we watch an episode of BoJack and then we talk about it and go completely off track and talk about our own lives. So it's sort of like you don't have to have seen BoJack Horseman to watch to listen to the podcast, but and we're really enjoying that. So we've had about a 6-month hiatus from our last episode, but got a new one dropping in the next 2 weeks. So that's BoJack Horse Friends, and I'm also currently directing and co-writing a theatre show for the New Zealand prog rock band Outside In. So you can check them out on Spotify and YouTube. And that show is sort of like we've taken their album, which is a 12-track prog rock album based on the book Siddhartha by Herman Hesse, and now we're taking the album and we're turning that into a theatre show that the band will play live, and there'll be dance and visual elements and stuff. Sort of like inspired, I guess the closest thing that you could relate to would be like Pink Floyd's The Wall. But we're doing that because as far as I know, nothing like that in New Zealand's really been done before. But also it suits the style of music and stuff. So if you're looking for new music, I recommend you check out Outside In on Spotify and some of their music videos on YouTube. I directed and am acting in. So if you want to follow up and see some ridiculous videos with some awesome music, then check that out too. But they're the main 2 things I'm working on at the moment. And I'm currently directing Shrek at a high school.
Oh, okay. I was
No, I'm not directing Shrek 5. DreamWorks presents Shrek 5. Shrek, why won't you die? No, I'm not. I wish.
Maybe Donkey could have his own spin-off movie, just like Puss in Boots had his own prequel.
Yeah. After Shrek's untimely demise, Donkey becomes a grieving poet.
Well, he's already a bard. Let's be honest, if you really think about it, Shrek is a DreamWorks version of The Witcher, and Donkey is the bard.
Yep.
True.
Toss a coin to your ogre.
So anyway, guys, now we go to the fan questions. So, Ashton, are you ready for the fans?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So, Aaron Gells says, "Hi, did you watch episodes in which you voiced characters were aired? Greece or Argentina? So, did you watch the episode of Ninja Steel and Beast Morphers?"
Yes, I did. Yeah. So, I know that Ninja Steel is on Netflix in New Zealand. So, every now and then I watch that and have a laugh at the voice, but often I won't watch the whole episode. I might just watch little snippets to edit them up for my show reel. But I try and, if I am going into an audition as well, I try and catch up on what's happening in Power Rangers so I can have some idea of how my character fits in and stuff like that, which doesn't always work because often the season is completely different than the one that's currently on. But I am one of those actors that quite likes watching the performance back so I can almost give myself feedback.
Speaking of Power Rangers, a certain Power Ranger voice actor wants to say hi to you, by the way, Ashton.
Who's that? Campbell! Hello, my friend. Campbell Coley is such a lovely dude, and he gave me a lot of guidance, actually, both at my auditions and my recording sessions. So I'm actually really grateful I credit a lot of my ability to be involved in Power Rangers thanks partly to Campbell. So thanks, Campbell.
Yes, thank you, Campbell. Thanks, buddy, and shout out to Campbell for helping us get this person.
I'm not in that high demand, honestly.
You guys don't know, Campbell was the voice of Scrozzle, Snide, and a lot of Power Ranger and Scrozzle and Beast Morphers. So a lot of Power Ranger main villains in Neo Saban era or Nick era.
Super talented voice actor.
Yes. Paratus Massacre says, "Greetings from Mumbai, India. Kia ora."
Oh, kia ora.
Paratus Massacre says, "Have you met the Ranger cast members on set while doing the voice acting?" Oh, interesting question.
Yeah, that is an interesting question. I have not actually, because the work that you do is literally, it's a really surreal experience actually. I literally go into a padded room, not a padded cell, a padded room, and into a voice booth, and it's me and the tech operator and the voice acting director, and it's just the three of us in a room, and I'm completely removed from the rest of the cast. So the actors have already done all their filming, and I'm watching I'm watching that footage, and I'm syncing up the voice acting to what the monster's physically doing. So the stunt person, who's usually a Japanese stuntee, because they film the Japanese version and the US version in New Zealand, so I watch it and I voice it, and we'll do a couple of takes and time it, and the fighting is always the hardest because it's like and you got to sort of time it with what they're doing. But no, I'm other than that, I'm pretty much fully removed from Power Rangers itself. I did extra work on it when I was a teenager, and that's when the actual Rangers were there, and I was just in the background. So I have been on set with the Rangers, but and I know some of them, like I know Nick Sampson, who was a Ranger a few years ago and stuff, so a lot of them are local actors. But no, great question though, but as a voice actor, you're often completely removed from the rest of the process.
Adding to that, so which seasons were you actually working on? Background stuff.
Do you know, it was so long ago, I would have still been at high school, so at least probably we're talking about 15, 16 years ago, and I think Power Rangers had maybe even just come to New Zealand, and all I remember is that I was filming at Aotea Square, which is in Auckland City on the main street, and they had closed it off, and I did two scenes. One I went by on a push scooter while the lead actors were walking, and another one I was sitting eating a croissant with an alien at a cafe. And I don't even know how long ago that was, but being young and never done that before was cool.
You did SPD.
SPD. I was thinking
because you said alien and a core, just legit SPD.
Like eating croissant with an alien. I'm like, is this SPD? Were you hanging out with those bee people in the first episode?
Maybe. Honestly, it's so long ago. I can't remember what I did 10 minutes before starting this interview, let alone what I did when I was sort of that age. But that was my first taste of Power Rangers, and that was... and also when I was on set for playing the Dozing Man, I got to hang out with the monster, the Dream Snatcher, which was bizarre, because then a few years later I was doing the voice for the same kind of monster, so it's like going full circle. I actually owe Power Rangers quite a lot in terms of paid acting work.
Yeah, ever since I was a kid, I loved the voice acting for the monsters, especially. It was actually when I was 4 years old when I found out I could do the voice of Goldar. That was literally the first voice I was able to do an impression of. So as a 4-year-old, I was like, "Curse you, Red Ranger!"
That's amazing.
So Campbell does have a question for you. He says, "Didn't you win a car in one episode?" Yes.
Yeah. So that was the Dozing Man, the Dream Snatcher. So I'm asleep on a bench, and the Dream Snatcher appears, and he goes, "Ay, that dream looks delicious," in a very stereotypical accent. And then it goes into the dream, and I'm wearing this blue shiny shirt, and I've got my hair in a ponytail, and I've won this amazing car. And then the screen goes hop, 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 and the dream gets eaten. And I was meant to look at the camera and go, oh no, I was meant to wake up, on the bench, and then go, "How could such a good dream turn out so bad?" But they cut that line, so it just shows me going, and then it cuts. But yes, I did win a car in a dream in Power Rangers, and not many people can say that sentence.
So for fans wondering if you're late, this is Ashton in Megaforce when you want a car. And his...
Do you know, I love that the glasses I'm wearing in that picture, that's before I wore glasses to see, and I just realized they're the same as my frames that I wear now.
And he looks like sleeping like an angel.
I love how dream version of me still had vision problems though. So even in my dream in Power Rangers, I still have problems with my eyes.
First request from a fan.
Sure. Just gotta remember it. Give me something to say.
Scenario. So here's the scenario. The monster boss. Okay, so let's do this. For Ninja Steel, Galvanax forgot to pay the electric bill and blames you. What do you say in your voltipede voice?
Those pesky Rangers! They should have paid my electricity bill. In fact, why do I need to pay for electricity? I'm literally electricity myself. Ah!
Oh, okay. I got one for Meltitron. Since its monster design is based on a fire extinguisher, can you do a fire safety seminar?
Oh, wait, maybe.
So, do you know the problem is though? I genuinely don't remember how Meltitron's voice is.
Alright, never mind then. Mike, go ask your question.
Okay. Okay, because I had a scenario for Meltitron, but you don't remember his voice, so I can't ask it. But my scenario would have been, what if Meltitron is leading a fire safety seminar, since he is a fire extinguisher monster in the Japanese version?
I could do Voltipede taking a fire seminar.
That works.
In case of a fire, make sure that you exit and leave your belongings. Walk to the nearest exit. Don't go towards the fire, you fools.
Alright, guys. We did it for you. Hope you guys are happy and sad. Hope you happy. Michael Brown. Yes, let's hear some life breaks.
I'll just point out that that's my brother.
Oh yeah, bro.
Oh yeah, Brown. Yes.
How do you have anything to ask your bro? Let's do some other voice. I'm just kidding.
Let's do some monster role playing, shall we?
Oh, okay. I can do Goldar, Lord Zed, and what's his name? Dark Spectre. So scenario.
All right, I'll give you one. I want you to be a Dark Spectre on a first date.
Okay. Oh, that's perfect because same monster suit as the Power Rangers movie, the second one.
And so, I, Dark Spectre, have been able to conquer the M51 galaxy and gave it to Lord Vile. Now, why are my powers still being drained?
Nice.
And then his dude would say to him, "I bet this isn't the first time this has happened, hasn't it?"
Nerd. Kidding. So, let's see. Oh, good question. Favorite video game?
Oh, good question. I really love the Batman Arkham series.
Go.
I have clocked all four of them on every difficulty on both PlayStation and PC. Arkham Knight. Oh, yeah, amazing. Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and even Arkham Origins, which has amazingly underrated boss battles. Honestly, amazing. And Mark Hamill's Joker is just, it's like playing a movie. And he's like, welcome to the fun house. You know, the way he does Joker is just so great.
That's right. One of the best games.
Hello, Gotham.
Speaking like video games, I don't know if you play this. Pokemon or Digimon?
Pokemon, 100%.
Let's go.
And I'm talking original 151 Pokemon. But after that, stuff got crazy for me. I couldn't keep up. I'm a Charizard sort of guy.
They're
See,
Gen
I think you would appreciate Black and White because they go back to 157 Pokemon. It's just not the same 151 from the first game. The fifth gen was all intents and purposes supposed to be a remake of or reboot of the original game, except it's in a new region, new bad guys, and here the bad guys are basically PETA, where they're like, yeah, people should not own Pokemon. So we're just gonna steal it from them and then conquer the world using them.
Do you know Peter actually made a learning game about...
they did that for the sequel, Black 2 and White 2, where they made a game where you're a renegade Pokemon who's trying to fight against makeup professors and some circus. But what's even weirder is PETA's sequel game where Miltank ends up in our world and a fat kid walks out of McDonald's and it's like, you look tasty. Mind if I eat you? I'm like, I could be starving in the woods and while I would kill a cow in order to get my meat supply while I'm starving in the woods, I wouldn't straight up tell the cow that I would eat it. I would just go straight for it. Just saying. Practicality.
So unfortunately, there's no toy of Voltipede or yet. Oh man.
If anyone wants to license an official Voltipede toy, let me know and I'll voice it.
So
Hasbro, please make a Lightning Series toy for either of his two characters, because let's be honest, Beast Morphers was the first season that you officially owned, so there's no reason not to do it. And Voltipede, we got to get some Megaforce villains, and if we got the Sphinx monster and
you got this monster, you can make it. Yeah,
if you can make the pumpkin wrapper, you could totally do Voltipede.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what kid doesn't want to unwrap a toy-sized version of me on Christmas,
I would love it if they had some built-in voice lines that you would pre-record, those old toys. I would love you to say something sassy to a kid on Christmas morning.
Hey, let's do this. If you would, since your brother actually is asking for more. All right, Michael, what would you say in a voiceover for a kid that opens you?
You should have gotten a lump of coal!
Let's see. Your brother says, can't wait for Buzzcut from a real poster and production photos I've seen. So funny, cool. It's gonna be so epic. Aww.
He's a lovely boy. You should. If you bring up that picture of him again, you can see there that's him being the front man of Outside In. That's the show we're working on. Check them out.
So Paris is saying that your dreams to catch Mew from the original Pokemon game.
Can you catch Mew without on the Game Boy version without a
No. See, there was a special event that was Japanese exclusive for you to be able to obtain it, but people always have this fan theory where there's a truck in Vermilion City where
that's right.
Yeah. But that's been debunked so many times. But there's people programming custom Pokemon games where I wouldn't be surprised if someone made a version of Pokemon Red where you could do that. It just would be pointless because why go through all that code just to change that one tiny detail?
And isn't there the bug where if you talk to the bug catcher dude a certain amount of times you catch a Masingo or something?
I think, I remember there was something about Missing No involving bug catcher. Yeah. But everyone loves Missing No, especially in the Honest trailer for Red and Blue, where Missing No is a glitch in the Matrix.
Yes. So before we go, I actually do have another question for you. My personal question for you, Ashton. DC or Marvel? So your pop factor.
Batman is my all-time favorite story and character and villains and everything. Film-wise, Marvel's leaving DC in the dust at the moment. However, I thought Snyder's finally released version of Justice League was actually really good. I like both, and I think as fans that we should love both. But
No! No!
People keep saying Star Wars or Star Trek. I'm like,
No.
they're too different to even pick one over the other. Why can't we be both Trekkies and Jetties? Why can't we catch Pokemon and
he's
tame
left.
Digimon?
He's left. I mean, that's like, pizza or chips. Why not pizza and chips? It's the best combination. So why not
brother? Let's go.
Oh, there we go. See, Spider-Verse is one of the greatest films ever made, honestly. But Dark Knight is my favorite movie of all time, tied first equal with Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. So I'm torn.
For me, I always had this I always wanted to see this where you would have Marvel and DC cross universes again, and Bruce Wayne would be framed for a crime, and Harvey Dent is district attorney prosecuting him, and Matt Murdock would be his lawyer. Meanwhile, Lex Luthor and Kingpin team up, and Batman gets injured. So Matt Murdock, who is the Daredevil, would wear the bat suit. So you got Batman, who's literally blind as a bat.
And it's bizarre that Daredevil's called Daredevil and not Batman, and Batman's not called Daredevil, because Batman's literally a rich dude who's risking his life to do stunts, and Daredevil's literally a guy who fights with basically sonar like a bat.
Why isn't Johnny Blaze not called Daredevil? He's literally a stunt motorcyclist.
He's a stuntman.
One more question from one of my cousins. He's asking, where is this? Oh, did you watch Falcon and Winter Soldier?
I haven't yet. Do you know, I haven't even watched WandaVision yet, because I try and only have 2 shows going at a time, or I lose track of where I'm at for all of them. And I'm currently finishing Better Call Saul, and then I'm going to do WandaVision, and then I'm going to do Falcon and Winter Soldier, because my wife and I literally just rewatched all the Marvel films in chronological order, because we'd done them in release order, and we wanted to do them in story order. So now we're ready, we're all primed and ready for WandaVision and then Falcon and Winter Soldier. But I've heard they're both, I've heard WandaVision's quite left field, which is exciting, but I've heard that Falcon and Winter Soldier's really good.
Yeah, it's really good. For WandaVision, the first purpose is kind of slow, but it makes sense, because of course, it's not spoiler alert, it's basically like sitcoms and stuff. But Falcon and Winter Soldier, oh my god, legit.
Yeah.
If you love Winter Soldier, the second Captain America movie, you're gonna love.
Yeah. Do you know what's really interesting?
I still haven't watched that.
It was really interesting. The movies I enjoyed more the second time through watching in story order, or that I understood a lot better, character motivations and stuff, than I did the first time. I didn't appreciate Age of Ultron, for example, at the cinema, but when I rewatched it in story order, I liked it way more. And then I thought that Doctor Strange wasn't as good as I remembered. But I am looking forward to the Doctor Strange sequel, which I know WandaVision's had a part in setting up.
I agree with you about watching movies multiple times to get a different experience, because honestly, my mom doesn't understand that. It's like you watch a movie once, you're done. And I'm like, no. See, sometimes there's things you don't even notice. Yeah. It's like, I don't know if you've ever played the game Bayonetta, but
no, I haven't. I know Bayonetta though.
Yeah. So this game involves a lot of time travel. So in the second game, there's even more time travel. So there's events that happen both before and after the first game, and there's some revelations in the second game that completely changes your experience watching the first. It's like playing the first game, and and a lot of movies are like that, in a sense where even watching Star Wars, for example, watching 1 through 6 is a different experience than watching 4 through 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6. Or 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, and even just watching the same one movie twice, it changes your experience, because sometimes you end up hating a movie more the second time. Maybe you end up liking it more the second time. Yeah. For me, Halloween 3 was a movie I hated the first time I watched it, but now it's my one of my most favorite of the Halloween franchise. Just to give an example.
Let's see. Oh, that's pretty much it. All right, guys. So thank you for the special interview, and how nice having you two here, Ashton. So, Ashton, thank you so much for being a special guest. Where can they find you on social media?
So you can follow me on Facebook is my main avenue because I'm old school. So that's Ashton Brown, writer and performer. If you want to follow me on Facebook, I do have a Twitter that I don't really use, which is @AshtonJBrown. I have a YouTube channel with really outdated, embarrassing videos on it that I refuse to take down because I don't care. So if you want to have, if you want to have a laugh at that garbage, you can check out Ashton Brown on YouTube. But if you want to stay up to date with like my latest projects like Buzzcut and the Karma Train show that I'm co-writing and directing at the moment, then Facebook is probably the best way to keep up with me, and that's Ashton Brown, writer and performer. Yeah, I can't think of any other avenues. I recently downloaded TikTok, but I'm not doing anything on that because I'm over the age of 16. But I do have it now, so I refrained for a while, but this. Yeah, so Facebook me if you wanna stay up to date with any other projects I'm doing, and if you need a voice actor, flip me a message and we can talk.
Awesome. And my partner Mike, where can I find you?
You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/BokenKawato, where you can watch me do some video gameplay. Right now I'm doing Sonic Heroes. I've always wanted to do the voice of Vector the Crocodile, just saying. Sega. And you can find me on Instagram at chrono_justice_cosplay.
And you can find me on Instagram, dancerboy247, and fellows, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter at Morphin Network. Again, thank you, Voltipede and Meltitron. Ashton.
You are so welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
It was nice meeting you, sleeping guy who wins a car and then gets eaten.
Oh my god! Anyway, this is Morphin Network, and we're actually gonna go sleep and say bye. Bye, guys. Goodbye, way, boys. Smile.
Today's Morphin Network video is brought to you by Karson's Korner. Karson's Korner is a black LGBTQ-owned small business. They sell merchandise and apparel on pop culture franchises. These franchises include King of the Hill, Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, and of course, most importantly, Power Rangers. If you're interested in getting their amazing merch, be sure to check them out at www.carsonscorner.com.